Two things happened I never expected to see in my lifetime. One, an Adam Sandler movie was more well-received critically than a Disney movie. And two, I've brought up Rob Schneider 3 times in 3 separate videos, all within a single week. I don't know how I feel about that. Am I cursed? Am I about to die? Oh no. It's Chilla time. Like, it's so weird to see an Adam Sandler movie have a higher score on review sites than Wish. That's just insane to me. And I have to wonder how much of that is just folks dunking on Wish, looking at Disney saying, yeah, take it, not like that, and punch the company into the ground. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. Now, I will say, I am late to this topic. Leo's been out for a few weeks now, but I've been busy drowning myself in Land Before Time content. I've watched nearly 9 movies. I've watched 26 episodes, all within a stream. By the way, if you watch the entire stream, check it out on my Patreon. It's 12 hours long. But I wanted to get around to this topic. I wanted to talk about Leo because guess what? I watched it, and I have some thoughts about it. As does the rest of the internet, apparently. Is it really that good? Is it better than Wish? Is it better than an actual Disney film? Or are people just getting carried away? Because in the discussion of Disney versus Sandler, that sounds more like a court case, but I do wonder if folks are upvoting Leo to spite Disney. And that's an interesting dynamic because it does seem comical that Adam Sandler, of all people, could get a higher rating, while Disney, the father of animation in some ways, is struggling. So I can see why folks would delight over that, would laugh about that. I mean, I certainly have. But there's a point where folks are like, yes, it is objectively better than Wish. And I'm like, is it though? Really? Let's talk about that. But before we get into it, ad time. So I want to give a shout out to this video sponsor, ZBiotics. Listen, I know a lot of us like to have the occasional stiff drink every now and then, especially during the holidays. Lord knows we need it. But I have a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That is until I found ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it the most. Just remember to drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So, go to zbiotics.com/Saberspark or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use Saberspark at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code Saberspark, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or the occasion. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Saberspark and use the code Saberspark at checkout for 15% off. Thank you again, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this video. All right, back to the video. First off, Adam Sandler is the nucleus, as he usually is, with, or production he's a part of, a la 8 Crazy Nights. The companies behind Leo included Happy Madison Production, but it was animated by Netflix's Animal Logic, which is a studio who has worked on Happy Feet, the Lego Movie, and The House of Ga'Hoole, so, a solid resume. But Leo was directed by Robert Marionetta, David, I'm gonna fuck up your name, David Vochtenheim, and Robert Smigel, who is the guy behind Triumph the Dog. And Robert also wrote for the film, along with Paul Sato and, of course, Adam Sandler. And what really caught me off guard about Leo was that it was a musical. I was not expecting that. I put the movie on, and I'm like, okay, let's see the poo-poo humor come out. And it started with a song, well, kind of. And I was like, wait, is this a musical? Is this going to be a full-on musical? As I Live and Breathe? Sandler's kind of done that before. Again, I gesture towards 8 Crazy Nights, but that wasn't as good, maybe it would be different here, which, hey, it kind of was. The songs were written by Robert Smigel. I'm probably saying his name wrong. And I guess the guy knows how to write because some of these songs are pretty damn fun. Which soundtrack are you rocking? The Wish soundtrack or Leo? Or both at the same time in each ear? So what is Leo about? Leo is about an iguana named Leo and his turtle friend Squirtle, which when I first heard that name, I'm like, ooh, is that going to be a lawsuit? Is the Pokemon company coming after you? Apparently not. Leo and Squirtle are two little animals that live in a classroom of fourth graders. And they've been living there for a long time, like nearly 75 years. And throughout the ages, Leo and Squirtle have not really done anything with their life. They've just existed, and they've watched life go past by them. And for Leo, he has like an existential crisis. He's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm going to die here soon, as a matter of fact, according to my information, and I've done nothing with my life. I gotta do something. I've got to actually have meaning and live before I die. And I was not expecting mortality and purpose to be big themes about this movie, but lo and behold, they were. And not even just for Leo for purpose, but for the kids. For the fourth grade kids, Leo goes home with them because the kids take home the pet to watch for the weekend. And here's one of the weird things about this film. The animals can talk to humans, but they choose not to. It's weird because you think it's a Toy Story rules. What's the rule of law that monitors whether an animal can talk to a person? And it turns out it is, just don't do it. And if you do, big deal. That was a bit of an interesting factor for the film that caught me off guard. And I thought they could have done a bit more with that. He talks to kids. He sings to kids. He wants to get out into the wild. Every time he goes home with a kid, he thinks this is my chance to escape. But he ends up giving them a lot of life lessons because each kid is in crisis about what am I doing with my life? I'm afraid. I'm scared. I'm nervous. Here are my problems. And Leo would impart upon them wisdom because he's super old and he's seen these problems before. So it kind of makes sense. And I kind of like that, where it's cool. We get to see all these different situations and scenarios for these kids. The kid who talks too much, the kid who's been he's got a helicopter parent via an Amazon drone, kind of. This kid's a bully. This kid here has a deep voice that he has to hide. So to not show his high-pitched voice, it got this one girl who is a complete snob and learns that the world doesn't rotate around her. There's a lot of good characters, surprisingly. They were fun, simple, and I wouldn't say one note, because they do, progress and change, but nothing overly complicated or deep either. That's okay, though. It was serviceable. Also, you can tell by the writing that the parents wrote this movie just based on the kindergartners alone, because you got these little kindergarten kids where they got almost balloon-like heads, and they kind of remind me of the kindergartners from Recess, where they're just savages and they run all over the place. It's pretty good. Another character included this substitute teacher who came in. He was kind of interim while the main teacher was off being pregnant. This teacher is very strict, old, and is no nonsense, no fun. And a lot of the teachers and faculty and parents think that their kids improving in school, being better kids, are due to her. Being a good substitute teacher. Turns out it's actually Leo. Leo's finding purpose, spoilers, and there's some conflict that comes from that where Leo talks to the substitute teacher on accident, and they kind of come to an accord where it's hey, we get to go to this fun theme park if the students do really well, they're doing great, this is working out for all of us. And the teacher's I want to steal all the credit of this lizard. So I'm going to take this lizard and just drop it off at the Florida Everglades, which, as we all know, is a death sentence. It's funny because Leo gets to see the other side of the fence. It's always more green on the other side. Turns out it is more green, literally, but it's also a lot more dangerous and deadly. The kids are like, no, Leo's gone. Where's Leo? We love him. And what gets me so much is the first act introduces everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for it. This kid, this lizard is having a midlife crisis. Actually, not even a midlife crisis, end of life crisis. I kind of like that. It's dark. And then the second act is following him with the kids and growing with them and actually finding his own, inadvertently finding purpose with himself, talking to the kids. He's actually finding purpose. Third act is fucking wild. And it goes off the rails. Crazy pacing. At the end of the second act, I'm like, this is close to the end of the film, right? Like, it feels like we're kind of hitting the end here. It feels good. I pause the movie and I'm like, my fucking God. There's like 45 minutes left. The rest of those 45 minutes were insane, and not necessarily in a good way. More of just kind of needlessly long and drawn out, crazy action and humor. Pacing was all over the place, where I felt like they were going from the theme park to the Everglades. The kids are like, we have to save Leo. How do we find Leo? Just go to the Everglades. I'll find him. There he is. I'm like, how'd you find him within 5 minutes? It's the Everglades. It's massive. So there's stuff like that, where I feel like the first and second act are much better. Then when they wrap things up in the third act, it felt rushed, silly, just kind of out there. And I know it's a kid's movie, whatever. It's a family movie, I can say that. But it's not like they could have done more. Actually, on the contrary, they could have done less. I think the film could have been 20 minutes shorter, and that would have made it better. Now, as far as like jokes go, dialogue, I was surprised at how restrained they were when it came to the lack of poop jokes and pee jokes. They were in there, they are in there, but not nearly as much as I would have expected in a Happy Madison production. Voice actors include Bill Burr, he's the voice of Squirtle the turtle. It's pretty good. There's Jason Alexander. That surprised me. I'm like, oh, there he is. Hey, it's Jason. I haven't heard you in a hot minute. And then, of course, there's Adam Sandler, who's the voice of Leo. And yeah, I don't know if I like it or not. You sounds a lot like this, and I'm on the water. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die on the ground. What are you gonna do? The children are gonna be the kids. And I'm like, oh man, Adam, I don't like this voice. What is this voice? Do lizards sound like this? It could have been better. You could have had an actual voice actor do this. I don't like it. It's like grating at first, but you get used to it. It's like putting your hand on a hot pan where it initially hurts a lot, but you just kind of hold it there. And you're like, I guess I've grown acclimated to the pain. Now, the sense of humor throughout the film, there are moments where it's hit or miss. I've laughed at some moments. There's a song about Leo's telling this girl, he's like, boo-hoo, the world doesn't revolve around you, who cares? But like, she kind of needed to hear that, and I thought that was kind of funny. Like a musical, sweet sounding like score, composition, but the lyrics are like completely the opposite of what the music's implying. That was funny. Other moments is a turtle peeing all over the place, and I don't really like that. Now, as far as the animation goes, I think it's solid. It's good, actually. There are moments, especially in the third act, where I feel like it chugs a bit. I don't know, it feels a bit slow to me. Not like slow pacing-wise, but just seems like it was very quick animation for certain like action movements. There's a party sequence in the second act that felt a little bit, I wouldn't say unfinished, but like it just felt like it was lacking. It just felt like they could have really provided more details and fluidity for the animation. But again, it's nothing I would say it's not incomplete. I wouldn't say that. It just feels like it could be polished up some more. The designs are good though. I like Leo's design. I like the Squirtle's design. I like the kids' designs, like the teachers. They felt kind of like, wabi-sabi, goofy-looking people. Good. I like that they have imperfections and they look weird. I like that. Good stuff. So overall, I will say that this movie is not incredible, but it's solid. It's a solid film. It felt different enough. Surprisingly good for an Adam Sandler production. If you're looking for like something to blow your mind, I wouldn't recommend it. It's not cerebral, it's not thought-provoking, but it doesn't have to be. If you want that, go watch The Boy and the Heron. Go watch that instead. But if you want something that's easygoing, simple, but that has admittedly some heart and care to it, give Leo a shot. I've seen a whole lot worse from Adam Sandler, so this is a positive entry in his resume on that front. So those are my thoughts about Leo. What did y'all think down in the comments? Let me know. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, buy my merch, and I'll see you all next time.